Hey guys, what is up? Swim here, and today we're going to be talking about TEPPEN, the Capcom mobile card game. Now, you guys might notice the word sponsored in the title of the video. I'm going to explain to you what that means. Well, it can mean a lot of different things depending on the video, but in this case, it means that basically the company is paying me to do a review of the game. They are not buying my opinion. I am doing my own review and talking about what I like and what I dislike about the game. Specifically, there's a lot of types of sponsorships that are going to approach streamers and YouTubers like me. Some of them are going to basically want you to read from a script and just praise their game. I get offered by some of these and I don't take them. That's not really my style. I'm going to give you guys what I think about the game, right? Just straight and simple. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and basically jump into what is TEPPEN. Well, TEPPEN is the Capcom mobile card game. So it means you're using basically cards as well as characters from, 5 different Capcom games, those being Street Fighter, Devil May Cry, Resident Evil, Mega Man, and Monster Hunter, right? So you're using heroes, like characters from those as well. The heroes in this game currently are Akuma, Nero, Jill Valentine, X, Rathalos, Ryu, Chun-Li, Morrigan, Dante, Nergigante, and Albert Wesker. And basically, the idea of this card game is to try to overpower your opponent's board by reacting to their plays as you gain up resources over time. Now, this card game has a couple of things that make it stand out among other card games, and specifically the most pressing is the fact that it is time-based. This is not a turn-based card game. It has a clock, it has an energy meter, so you're going to have to react to things, and this is going to be either a pro or a con for you depending on what kind of card game player you are. But we'll get into all the pros and cons in full review later. This is just right now basically me explaining the game. So how gameplay works is you're going to be gaining MP over time. That's, magic points effectively. And this allows you to play cards like mana would in any card game, except it fills over time. You're playing your cards on 3 different, lanes effectively, and your opponent is also playing on their lanes. Now, each card will be attacking when it's down, and you'll see that in the attack vector effectively from the cards coming forward. When an attack vector hits an opponent, it will deal direct damage to them. When it hits another unit, both of the units will deal damage to each other, barring any specific keywords that would say otherwise. The goal of the game is to reduce the opponent's health to 0, as with all card games, and from here on, most of you guys who understand, card game fundamentals from kind of any card game, different cards cost different amount of mana, they have different health and power stats, effectively, and you're going to, try to control the board, trade valuably, and a lot of cards will have these special play effects as well. Now, this game does have a stack feature, so basically what that means is, if you're familiar with any card game that uses a stack, is that when the opponent casts a spell, you have the ability to counter with one of your spells and it will resolve in backwards order, right? So there's a lot of kind of interactivity there. Lastly, you also have hero arts. Basically, out of the 11 heroes currently in the game, there's 3 arts for each hero, and an art is basically a hero power that you can just throw out, right? This costs AP, which you'll gain every time you spend an MP, so what that means is you'll be able to deploy this ability sometimes multiple times, in the middle of the fight as soon as it's charged, and they'll all do a lot of different things, swing the board, do a lot of damage, that kind of thing. But it means there's, since there's currently 33 different arts in the game, there's a lot of interesting deck building opportunities around these powers. Okay, so now that we've gotten basic gameplay out of the way, I'm going to be giving kind of my full review. This is going to be pros and cons. And then, I'll go into detail about stuff like, economy, how good things are there, because that's obviously, a very big concern when people are asking me about card games. And I also want to mention at this point, I wouldn't be taking a sponsorship for a game that I didn't personally like. This is a game that I overall like, although I am a critical person. I will find some problems with everything, but overall, I do like this game. So let's go pros and cons. Okay, pro number 1, this is a very novel card game. Now, me personally, and I know you guys will somewhat reflect this as well, a lot of you guys, I've been kind of sick of card games actually for a certain span of time when after Hearthstone came out, it's kind of like, you know, every card game was just kind of copying it for a few years. Every game was just Hearthstone with a twist, and I really didn't like that sort of thing. Like, it all felt very bland and very samey, and very much just kind of like almost like an IP cash grab, you know, like low effort design. It's just like, hey, you know, our IP has a card game too, check it out. And, you know, there have been a few games, these are the games that I've played, that have felt like they're doing their own thing, right? Like games that are very novel. The games that I've played in the past, like Gwent and Artifact, have been very novel experiences, and these are what attracted me to those games to begin with. So if you've played a lot of card games and you want something a little bit different, this is definitely a cool experience. However, I'm going to talk about a con right now, which is that novelty is, you know, potentially very good, but it kind of depends on how the developers are going to be able to work around certain issues, right? And this is kind of where, I mean, those two games, Gwent and Artifact, they didn't end up doing that well long term, in my opinion. I mean, some people still like Gwent. No, not really anybody still likes Artifact. There's a few people that still like both, but for the most part, the novelty kind of ended up being these games' downfall, mostly because, you know, I would say the developers didn't end up taking them in the right direction. They're really novel concepts, but what that means is that, you know, it's not a tried and true formula, right? You understand? So it comes down to the developer being able to sort of like understand very in-depth the fundamentals that they've set up in their own game, and being able to like harness those and make sure some things don't get like out of whack, or the game is like designed very well around the unique fundamentals that they're pulled from, like card design, for example. But I want to say I am putting novelty in the pro column. Overall, I would say the good outweighs the bad, right? Period. Okay, pro number 2. It has a pretty good economy. Now, this is also a sort of similar thing as the novelty thing, where I think overall the good outweighs the bad, but it's not black and white, and I like to be able to, you know, get in deep and dissect things. So, the game's economy, basically, there are a lot of ways to kind of get a lot of cards at the start. You have, you know, the daily quests, you're going to get a large boost from, you know, stuff like that. There's going to be basically these like one-time completion, effectively like challenges that you can do that we'll talk a bit more about later. And there's also going to be like the one-time completion like solo campaign against AI that you can do, and these both give a pretty good amount of rewards. So effectively how the game's economy works is you get a good burst of stuff like right away as a new player, and then the like economy gain starts to slow down a bit, right? So people are always asking, you know, oh, is the economy good? Is the economy bad? And I really don't like to think about those terms at all. I really hate this idea of looking at things in black and white, because different economies are going to serve different purposes, right? Some of them are going to be good at the start, bad long term. Some of them are going to be kind of like weak at the start, and you're feeling kind of like awkward, but you know, you're getting good cards over time, right? So what that means for this game is, as I was saying, you get a good burst at the start. So if you want to craft like pretty much any tier 1 deck, you'll be able to with basically just like the full starter bag of resources once you've completed all the things and maybe played for like a few days. Like, you'll be able to make a good tier 1 deck, right? That's fine, and that's good. Like, without putting any money down, that's great. That's kind of like what card games are looking for. Now, the minor downside is it's kind of front-loaded, so there will become a point, like after you've played for, you know, like a week or two, where, you know, your resource generation will start to fall off a bit, right? Because you've already completed these one-time things, and it'll start being a little slower. I'm not gonna say it's slow, but it won't, you know, keep up the, you know, amazing amount of resources that you're gonna get at the start. Now, overall, I'm going to consider this a pro, because it is a good economy. It does what it sets out to do. The most important thing about an economy system like this, where it's kind of front-loaded, is that what it's saying is there's kind of no reason not to try the game out, right? Because you get a lot of stuff early on, so you can play around and mess around with more different things. It's very easy to unlock the hero arts as well. You can unlock all 3 hero arts just per each hero, just by playing for like an hour or so with that hero, which is pretty great. So you're not kind of getting, you know, just kind of led along, and they're trying to like, you know, milk hours out of you. That's not really happening, so that's good, right? Like, you get good cards up front, and it means, you know, if you want to check out the game, you can download it. You can play it for a few hours. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't, but there's not really a lot of reason not to try it. Now, a lot of people are always asking me, you know, Swim, should I try this game? And usually with card games, the answer is kind of yes, because at the end of the day, most card games are free, right? You can download them, try them out, and if you don't like it, you've wasted like 2 hours. Big deal, right? Worst case scenario, right? That's not really a big deal. But like some of the card games that actually like require a lot more upfront, you know, Hearthstone being kind of the big example of a card game that you really can't get anywhere without paying money, which, you know, I mean, it's an okay game, but in terms of economy, just like that kind of brick wall, you really don't like that, because when someone asks me about a game like that, Swim, should I try this out? I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can, but it's a little different, right? Because when you have that barrier of entry in terms of, like, you know, having a starter collection, like a real starter collection, like being able to mess around with multiple things, then suddenly you don't have that, oh, I can just download it, play for a few hours, see if I like it or not. Because when you can't play with a lot of the cards like early on, then you lose the ability to really be able to try it out, like, non-committally. Now, TEPPEN is a mobile game, and it uses kind of all of the standard mobile systems, which are that you have like these daily quests, and you have these like kind of login bonuses. So what that's gonna mean is, you know that thing, the like ticket system where it's like you log in like 30 days in a row and you get a good prize or something like that, that a lot of mobile games use. There's gonna be that as well. And I'm gonna say this because this is kind of bringing me to my next point. The #1 con of the game is that it is mobile exclusive. This is a mobile game. It is not on PC, and the emulators for it on PC don't really work that well either. They, as far like to my latest knowledge, are kind of like buggy. So this is actually basically a mobile game. You can play it, you know, on mobile or tablet or whatever. But that's the biggest con. And the reason I know this is because probably some of you have just clicked off this video now that I've said that. Like, a lot of people are, especially like people, you know, that are watching me on like YouTube and Twitch, a lot of people that I talk to are very interested in PC games. And this, I can say, is the reason why I haven't really gotten big into TEPPEN before. Because several months ago, a lot of my friends were trying this game out. Celerity, and Gara and Freddy were all like playing TEPPEN, and they were telling me good things about it. They were saying like, you know, Swim, this TEPPEN game is pretty good. And I'm like, but it's mobile. And I know, like, for me personally, this is a big downside. This is why you haven't seen me stream TEPPEN before, because it is a mobile game. It's like, well, I mean, first of all, from the streaming end of things, it's really takes a while to like set up, like, you know, how to actually capture like the mobile thing. But that's even aside from that, I personally am a person that doesn't really play mobile card games, right? Like, especially because I don't really go anywhere. I don't really travel. I'm usually just kind of here at my desk, like 24/7. And for a lot of people, this is going to dissuade them. For a lot of people, you know, the fact that it currently doesn't have a PC version, they're probably not even going to be able to check it out. And yeah, that's the #1 con of this game right now. Now, if you are, you know, open to the idea of a mobile card game, I think it's definitely worth checking out. But if you're just not even feeling it, then you can probably wait a bit, and hopefully they're going to end up releasing a PC version. Now, as far as I know, they haven't announced anything like that yet. As far as I know, we're in the dark there, so it's a possibility. We don't know. But a PC version, I think, would be pretty much the best thing for this game. A lot of people would definitely be open to trying it out with a PC version. Alright, I'm gonna go back to Pro, so you'll notice I'm kind of bouncing around between pros and cons. I'm not doing like one and then another. I'm just talking about, you know, what is kind of like more important generally first, kind of descending down. Okay, so back to a Pro. This game is very fast-paced. Now, as always, it's not black and white. I don't really like thinking about things in black and white. I will say it's overall a pro, but depending on who you are, it might actually be a con. So, game is fast-paced. What does that mean? Well, it is a real-time game. You are required to put in reflexes. Now, I will say, unless you are trying to compete in, like, you know, high-level ranked or tournaments, you're probably not going to be held back by slow reflexes, so I don't think that's going to be a big problem for most people. But if you are someone who really does want to compete and like take it to high ranks, and B, you have like really slow reflexes that you think are gonna like hold you back, then that's gonna be a bad combination for this game, because it is a fast-paced game, like it is real time, and you do have to, you know, be able to put in things fast. Now, what I will say is that there's this weird myth with people think that fast and slow reflexes are just inherent to the human brain, and that's not really how that works. Usually, it comes down to experience within that game, right? Like, if you think you're slow, it's mostly at things that you haven't played enough of. Like, when you play more and more of something, you'll just get faster and faster at it, right? It just comes down to, you know, having a bit of practice. Because at the end of the day, the APM is in the brain, not in the fingers, right? So that's the big thing. And I will mention at this point that this game actually does have a pretty big tournament scene. Despite a lot of you guys not hearing about TEPPEN, it's actually pretty big in Japan. They recently had a 500K kind of like Worlds tournament that obviously, you know, brought on a pretty big amount of attention. So, effectively, the other thing that the fast-paced means is that games in TEPPEN are really short. These are like 5-minute games, right? Sometimes quite a bit less. So, sometimes they can be like 3 minutes if you're just like kind of burning down the opponent very, very quickly. So it's pretty good for like the mobile format, you know. It's good if you're if you just need like a 3-minute thing to do, like let's say, you know, you're on a toilet, or, you know, like any situation you want to whip out a mobile game, right? Like you get on a subway for a couple of minutes, or like a bus, or you're just like, you know, you're kind of in bed just procrastinating going to sleep, and you want to whip out your phone and really just really just keep you up for another couple of hours, but you say to yourself it's just a few minutes, and then, you know, this is a decent game to play there, right? Like, it kind of does very well on the kind of the what mobile users tend to want, which is kind of these quick fire games. It'll do very well. Overall, I will say the fact that it's fast-paced is a pro. It also is part of what differentiates it from other card games. This is part of the novelty. This is part of what makes it a pretty unique experience. But I will say, again, not black and white. For some people, this is going to be a turnoff. I want to point out that just because it's fast doesn't mean that like slower decks or control-y kind of decks don't exist. Like, they still do. It's just like games are just quicker, whatever you're using. And those are basically my main pros and cons. Like, if we're just kind of talking about broad strokes, this is where I end up with the game, right? Now, we can get into some flavor aspects too. Obviously, if you're a fan of any of this IP, like from Capcom stuff, any of these games, you're obviously going to be able to get, you know, a little bit extra out of this game, seeing, you know, playing your character that you've played from another game. You know, that'll be quite cool, right? I personally actually haven't really played a lot of Capcom games in the past. I played like Monster Hunter World, which was a pretty cool game, but I haven't actually played a ton of Capcom games in the past. So that one didn't really resonate with me. Now, I will add to this, by the way, that this game has a fairly unique flavor to it, which is to say that a lot of the how to say, there is a fair amount of fan service in some of the cards, where, you know, there are a few scantily clad women. There's a few card arts that are, you know, I'll look at that and I'll think, and then I'll spend a little more time looking at it, and then you know what I mean? Like, not a ton, but it does happen in a few areas, which, again, I can't really call that a pro or a con, right? But it for me personally, I will say it kind of takes me out of it a bit, but, you know, I mean, there's definitely a lot of people that are more into that kind of thing, I guess. But yeah, that's TEPPEN in a nutshell. So what's my final verdict? Well, it's pretty simple. If you're open to the idea of a mobile card game, maybe you want something a little bit different, try it out. It's pretty easy to try out. If you are, you know, if you're just not keen on the idea at all of playing a mobile game, you're probably not going to get much out of it. Like, you'll probably enjoy it, but, I mean, if you just aren't going to resonate with the idea of a mobile card game, period, then there's probably not a lot here for you, which is kind of sad. I really do personally hope that this game does launch with like a PC client at a certain point, because I think that would be really good for it, and I personally would be interested in checking it out if it does, and I know for a fact that there's many others who are in the same position, okay? If you do decide to try it out, go ahead and use the link in the pinned comment. It's going to be a tracker link. Effectively, it's just telling them like how many of you guys are, you know, checking out the game. Not really a big deal either way. Anyway, So now that we've covered everything, I'm gonna go ahead and show you some of the games. I've kind of like cherry picked some of the more funny or exciting games that I've played from my TEPPEN streams, and we're gonna show off some gameplay. I played this game for a total of like 10 or 11 hours, and basically, you know, these are gonna be some of the more funny or interesting moments in that time span. Then there's going to be a follow-up video where I'm going to be doing, I think, a couple more games, as well as doing some of the kind of like single-player campaign as well. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for this recorded version of Swim, and back to you, live gameplay Swim. Does this game fail to work well on emulators? From what I've heard, unless things have changed, it still doesn't really like work properly on emulators. I mean, we've got Senko. What the hell else matters, right? We still have like one First L Pride in this deck that maybe we can take out. So I want to go to 10 mana so I can like basically protect my Senko. So I literally just kind of chill until I'm at 10, right? Just develop in a different lane and just race. Dude, I can race. I can definitely race. Are you kidding? So let's go ahead and open like this. We'll just open with Senko on an empty lane and then just like threaten this 2-4. We've got like the rethread as well. Nice. So now, when he plays a unit, we'll just make our card flying. Here we go. 4 or less. Can I play anything unless he does? Gives 5 HP. Yeah, I'm just gonna return that then. This is a pretty funny deck. I guess the one sad thing is I can't use the Dante ability until later. So AP you get whenever you spend energy, right? So I need to spend 5 more energy before I can use Dante's ability.
Let's get in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already flying.
What's your problem? Trying to kill me?
What was that?
What's the matter? Got you running scared?
Alright. Oh, this guy just surrendered too.
That's all you got? Talk about pathetic.
Now, this is my kind of deck. I definitely, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I do have some Timmy tendencies, for sure. I'm like, I can have a good time at a good with a good Timmy strategy.
You got your reasons too.
And this is right up that alley. I mean, we got Senko and Adawong's hookshot. That's all we need, right? We'll just do the same exact thing. I guess he could halt. Yeah, he's playing Morrigan. He's probably having a lot of halts. That could be a little annoying, because if he just halts my huge boy, we could lose. -1 attack to an enemy unit. Okay, so let's start by making her hookshot. And now I can't play anything unless he responds. He has to give me a response to do anything. And now let's play this. And now I have to hover this. His attack is about to hit me. So if he doesn't respond, he won't let me play this on the stack. So I'd have to recast this really, really, really fast. Because his attack will hit me otherwise. Like that. And then my attack is about to hit him too, right? There we go. Oh, it already hit him. Okay. We're good. So we've got the 9 attack, just huge chonker. I don't really care enough to return anything. We can just play reactive at this point, right? The colon is actually perfect because that will allow me to use Dante's ability. I mean, I can just AFK here, right? Am I just good? What's going on? I think we're just good, boys. What's happening?
That's all you got? Talk about pathetic.
What the hell? Okay. That is pretty funny. I wanna get a better feel for this deck. I still need to make some changes though. I'm just not sure, like, how many other cards can I actually like add in here that would be like high impact that either owner can craft for cheap?
I've got some cleaning up to do.
We'll keep this, that's fine. We got like different stat lines at least, that's nice. Good news, bad news, huh? Okay, sure. So we got a 4-6 into this 2-4, that seems good. So we gave the thing 3 HP right when it was about to die. Oh, he did it again! That's tilting, actually. So he's playing... Is this like a duo color aggro deck as well?
I'm the one with power.
There's not really a lot I can do here. You really have to play like burn dinos later, I think. Like it's basically impossible to play these before 10. Like I can't imagine why you would want to. MP cost of green unit, sure. We'll use this for one. Oh, I can't deal with that? Oh yeah, it's 5. Okay, I guess it goes through. That's pretty scary, huh? Is this just gonna start slapping me now? It's a 5-1. Oh, that's not that bad. So now we're at 10, so I can play the burn dino, which is nice. And our thing is at 11.
What's your problem? Trying to kill me?
So we're basically just owning the board and threatening the... What is this called? Spike launch? Yeah, spike launch. 11 split. So we can boost it to 12 if we want by playing the 7 first. Total of 10 points. Huh. That's pretty trolly. We can use murderous spikes instead, I guess. Yeah, he's done. Nice.
Cannot defeat one who will never stop.
This keep is probably horrible. I really haven't been liking Bloodshot Eyes. Psycho Power is not bad. Okay, what's it gonna be, man? I just will not act first. Alright, buddy. We're stuck here forever, then. So we'll just go ahead and counter that. Explore for trauma. Okay. +2/+2. Yeah, this is just a little too valuable. Oh, that's an amazing draw, actually. Oh yeah, that's so good, dude. Explore uses Explorer. So he's like using an Explorer. He's count 5. He's doing another Explorer. I'll just send this back, right? Dude, count 6. It keeps going. Okay, I think we just blew up the entire board. That felt good.
Prove to me what you're made of.
Jesus. What the hell was that stack? Okay, so we've got some like value 7s basically. Still have M Bison. You can play early for pressure. I kind of believe in just chilling though, honestly.
Prove to me what you're made of. Can't afford to doubt myself.
6 to an enemy, huh? So sacrificing that 2 life will put me at 10 and allow me to slap Burn Dino right away.
I'll hold nothing back.
So now he's targeting his unit with Ryu. So which one is this? Is that like some kind of like go face thing?
I'll hold nothing back.
Halts an enemy for 13 seconds. I can't really answer that. So we're gonna do this now. It might be a little preemptive. I'm a little scared of my casual 5 health here. Playing a bit fast and loose. 5-5 means we're good to go in here. Wait, why am I doing this? Okay, that made no sense. Ah. Well, we should have showed him. So why did this live? So we're at 2. All right, we're good. Woo! Dude, this deck is pretty scary to play, for sure. You have to play very, very, very loose. I've completed an achievement. Nice. That would make him a lot better. Let's say, actually, I kind of want to play the Dante deck again. This was probably the most funny deck. It's the kind of thing you might get bored of, but I might not. Basically, if you didn't watch like a few hours ago when we were playing this, oh, he's got a special Chun-Li skin, pink dress. Uh-oh, I'm against a skinned Chun-Li player. We lost. So you just make one thing really, really big and just smash face with this deck, basically. 3 or less. So we just want to develop Senko where she's very safe. Every time you cast a spell, she gets +2/+2. Okay, interesting. Jesus. 2 attack to a friendly unit for each friendly unit on the battlefield.
I can't lose this.
But yeah. So every time I cast a spell, my Senko is dealing a lot of free or getting a lot of free stats here. And we're just gonna make one big flying unit and just go in deep with it.
My spirit burns.
Sweet dreams.
Yeah, we'll just slow this down.
You're done.
2 attack friendly unit, sure. Yeah, this is fine. We can return that. We just want to make sure we're using mana on something, like anything in this case. So returning it to EX means our Splendid Buffet will deal 4 damage now. Because we have 2 things in EX pockets, which is really nice. So right before right before this Senko connects, we want to buff it a little bit more if we can. This 11 attack thing is kind of staring me down though. I think he might race us.
Just give up already.
Pull my punches.
Alright, we just need to get this one last attack hit and this guy's screwed. We're at 3. He needs to have an answer to this or he's actually done. This deck is great actually. This is amazing, dude. Oh man, beating Chun-Li players feels so good. Yeah, why would I actually play a deck other than this? It feels very like, you know, it's just make large dude. It's like Akavist hand buff, dude. This is actually just like straight up the most satisfying way to win. For me at least. It's kind of like it's a pretty small brain deck, I'm not gonna lie. Like you don't have to do anything super crazy. But I mean when they have no answer, you just win.